Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Corn Productions here to talk about The X-Files, Season 1, Episode 20, titled Darkness Falls. The episode's description reads as follows. A group of loggers working in a remote forest unearths thousands of deadly insect-like creatures that paralyze and cocoon their victims. Scully and Mulder and a few others end up trapped there. The episode was written by Chris Carter, and the episode was directed by Joe Napolitano. Last ever was Jersey Devil, and this is his last episode of this series. And what's really funny about this is I'm actually talking about him the week that I'm recording this in another episode of Quantum Leap. That would be the last Gunfighter episode. That, of course, will have aired several months before you actually are watching this, but still. The episode originally aired on April 15th, 1994. Before we go any further, I'll tell you a couple of things. One, this is not a spoiler-free podcast. If you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend going and check it out, and then come back and give me a listen. Secondly, if you're listening on one of the platforms this podcast is now available on, please follow and feel free to check out my YouTube channel, Corn Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're already on my YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to my channel. Alright, so this is a bona fide classic for the series. At least that's my opinion. There are definitely quarters of the fandom that don't like this one as much. But it's an excellent effort from Chris Carter, and remember me praising him here, because we get to talking about the revival, which, okay, so currently my current plan is I'm going to finish out Season 1, I'm going to do the first 6 episodes of Season 2, skip one, do one breath, which is the conclusion of that arc, and then I'm going to go ahead and skip to doing the revival seasons, starting with Season 10, going all the way through that, and then Season 11. And then I'm going to come back and do selected episodes, so whichever I feel like talking about at that time. So that's my current plan as of now, for anybody that might actually be interested in that. I'm not going to have very good things to say about Carter's work in the Revival series, unfortunately. Somewhere along the line, Carter just kind of lost it, but he's in fine form here. Internet Movie Database says, this was intended to be a bottle episode based in a single location to save money, but bad weather plagued production. It was one of the toughest episodes of the season for the crew. The weather delayed production so much that pickup shots and inserts had to be filmed later on to finish. Delays were also caused by the inaccessibility of the location because generators, camera equipment, and first aid crew were able to stay on site. And time was wasted commuting staff in each day. This episode received the 1994 Environmental Media Award, that's the EMA, for Best Environmental TV Episode. Alright, so the episode begins with a bunch of loggers in the woods arguing about what to do about a sticky situation that they find themselves in. They say something is going to kill them all. They are very vague as to what that is, but they decide to try and get out of the forest. But as night comes, we see one of them overcome by some green lights, and we have our credits. When we come back, Mulder is giving Scully the rundown. Echo terrorists have been giving lumberjacks some grief, but the lumberjacks disappeared, and the company thinks the Echo terrorists might have been responsible for some foul play. They want an investigation, and Mulder pulled some strings to get the case. The reason? It matches a similar case in the X-Files. Naturally, I just kind of thought he was, so concerned about loggers. And so the pair of agents drive up, where they meet their guide, Larry Moore, played by Jason Begg, who happens to be one of David Duchovny's best friends. Begg would also be with him on Californication for some episodes, and this is not the first time I've actually talked about the guy. He appeared in the Quantum Leap Season 2 finale MIA, and he was basically the person that Sam was there to save in that episode. Moore says he has no quarrel with the Echo terrorists in principle, but he does not appreciate their methods. Scully asks if he thinks they would go as far as to kill people. Moore doesn't really answer the question either way, but you kind of get the insinuation that he definitely believes they are capable of it. They are joined by head of security for the logging company, Steve Humphries, played by Tom O'Rourke. 40 credits for him, including American Gangster, Growing Pains, and Wings. He died on September 13th, 2009, at the age of 65. Together they drive up for a 4-hour drive to get to their location. On the drive, Humphrey reveals his disdain for the Echo terrorists, and just then, a tire blows out, thanks to a spike trap set by one of these Echo terrorists. So, they have some hiking to do now. They happen upon a cabin, and no one is there. The place isn't abandoned, and Mulder notices some oily substance. The generator is busted, The vehicles are filled with rice, and I believe it's Humphreys that suggests he's going to get to work on getting the generator to work, which is a good idea because if they don't, they are all going to die. Of course, they don't know this at this time, and neither do we, for that matter. They hike further into the woods and find the hikers cocooned in spiderweb-like things. I wonder if Spider-Man is the villain in this one. They speculate what could have gotten them into the tree, a spider or some kind of insect, and then Humphrey works on the generator as it's getting dark and he hears something. It turns out to be one of the Echo terrorists, Doug Spiney, played by Titus Welliver. He has 111 credits for him, including the lead on Bosch, 3 episodes of Lost, Gone Baby Gone, and The Town. Humphrey asks what happened to his men. Doug says he doesn't know. Probably about the same thing that's going to happen to them when it gets dark. Doug knows that darkness is their enemy, as Mulder and co. arrive. He doesn't know what the creatures are, but that they come at night and devour men whole. They won't leave the forest by hiking because it's actually more than a day's hike to get out. They argue some, and Doug claims that trees that are marked and not supposed to be taken have been cut. Humphrey decides that Doug is full of shit and doesn't listen to Doug at all, so he goes outside. And wouldn't you know it, nothing happens. This time. But Mulder suggests sleeping with the lights on because he, I believe, believes in Doug. The next morning they hike out and find a tree. And they find a ring. It's a huge tree, by the way, more than 100 years old. They find a ring that towards the middle has like a little green ring and a bunch of green gunk in it or something. Moore takes a core sample. Humphreys had enough of all of this and decides to walk down to the vehicle that they originally broke down in so that he can maybe potentially call some people in who will actually do something about the Echo terrorists in their midst. He's not buying this whole bug story. Moore looks at the ring under a microscope, and it's some kind of wooden mite that he can't identify. They think these things might be the culprits, and that they've been dormant in the tree for hundreds of years. We see Humphreys down by the vehicle. It's now late. He hears a droning, and he soon finds himself swarmed and attacked, and he becomes very, very dead. Mulder sees an oily substance, and he suggests that volcanic eruptions could have caused the bugs, or perhaps an extinct bug was unearthed when a tree was cut down. How do you like that for irony? The next morning, Doug tries to sneak out. He wants to go and save his friends. Mulder holds a gun on him, but Doug says he can get to the camp and back by morning and save them all. And Mulder, without talking to anybody, lets him go. Mulder gets the radio working, and he tries to mayday for help, but then the power goes out. And the reason the power went out is because Larry turned it off. This is when they learn that Mulder let Doug go. And this is not a particularly popular decision. There's less than half a tank of gas left to go, and guess who took off remaining gas? If you guessed Doug, you guessed correct. Mulder realizes he might have screwed up. Scully decides to give him some crap anyway, and she says if they are lucky, they'll be found up in a tree, or maybe never found at all. Mulder gets to work battening down the hatches, which I think is just busy work at this point because I think he's already realized that the bugs are on all of them anyway. Oh, and we find out there's only one bulb that works. So if that happens to break or burn out, they're all gonna die. So they're preparing for a long night, and Scully sees bugs going through a hole in the dark. And a shadow comes over Scully's hand, which reveals some green bugs, and she starts freaking out. She almost takes out a bulb, and by the way, this is a really tense, effective scene. Great stuff. Mulder says the bugs are on all of them, they are safe in the light, and Mulder speculates that the light keeps them from swarming. Scully, calmer now, is not exactly optimistic about their survival situation, or their survival chances, I should say. Mulder says he hasn't given up on Spinney. Man, that guy is nothing if not optimistic. For such a paranoid person, you would think he would not be so optimistic. The generator dies, but, as it turns out, it's daybreak. Well, that's lucky for them, isn't it? Mulder suggests patching up a tire and getting it on the truck. They hike down to the vehicle when they discover Humphreys dead and cocooned. Just then, Spinney drives up on them. All his friends are dead, and Doug insists that they haul ass out of there. They get in and drive off. But whoops, as the sun goes down, they hit another spike trap, and oh, the irony, once again. Doug, outside the vehicle as he is examining the vehicle and the damage, is attacked by the bugs. And then the bugs go through the venting system in the car, and At this point, I'm kind of wondering, why didn't they just turn on the lights in the car? Wouldn't that have prevented the bugs from swarming? Nobody thinks about it, though, and they're all swarmed. But somehow, they survive. In the morning, when they are found by rescuers, they are not exactly in great shape, but they are alive. They are taken into quarantine. Mulder is told about the chemical found in their lungs that are found in fireflies, and he's told that they're going to eradicate the bugs, and they should be able to get rid of the bugs in the forest, and this should be successful. And Mulder asks, well, what if they aren't? The doctor says that is not an option, and that is how the episode ends, on a very ominous note. Yeah, like I said, fun episode. Very tense, very well done. And next week, I got even better news. We're going to talk about Tomb. That would be the sequel to Squeeze, and it's another classic, bona fide classic episode. And we get an introduction to Skinner. So next week, we'll be talking about, or actually whenever I get around to it, I'm assuming it's going to be next week, the way I've been doing things lately. So yeah, you have that to look forward to. Alright, that's all I got for you for this video. If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join one of my Core Productions Facebook pages. You can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a copy, which is a new way to support content creators such as myself. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Core Productions, signing off.